Honors to you. Welcome to another edition of Indy University. Uh, we excel during retrograde because we update our firmware and hardware frequently, daily. That's a growth, that is progression, that is introspection, if you will, self-examination. That is updating your firmware daily. That is meditating on the things that you were doing yesterday and what you can do better today. Indy University reports. This is 2016. Submitted to the Executive Committee of the Trust and Estate Law Section, January 27, 2016. Prepared by, we will let you know that later. This is interim report on the EPTL and SCPA Legislative Advisory Committee, 6th report. Submitted to the Executive Committee of the Trust and Estate Law Section, January 28, 2015. Prepared by. Now this is part 1, background on the final report. This is to let all that come into contract with us concerning estate administration, letting them know that we know what we're doing, beyond the shadow of two doubts. In May of 2012, the EPTL and the SCPA Legislative Advisory Committee sent its 6th report to the New York State legislators. That's what I call them. The 6th report, which was based on years of study, recommends that the New York State Law Legislature enact the Uniform Trust Code as modified as new Article 7A of New York Estates Powers and Trust Law, EPTL. The 6th report was submitted to the New York State Legislature with the understanding that the Trust and Estate Law section of the New York State Bar Association, the Estate and Gift Taxation and the Trust Estates and Surrogate Courts, Committees of New York City Bar and City Bar and the Office of Court Administration, Surrogate Court Advisory Committee, would comment on the proposed legislation before any legislative act was taken. In anticipation of the final 6th report, there were several earlier drafts. The decision was made in the spring of 2012 to form a NYUTC Legislative Advisory Group consisting of members of the Trust Estate Law section of NYSBA, the Estate and Gift Taxation and Trust Estate and Surrogate Court Committee of the City Bar of the Office of Court Administration, Surrogate Court Advisory Committee. To that end, a steering committee for the NYUTC lab was created. As constituted, the steering committee consists of 1 individual from each of the constituent groups, but over time the committee has been enlarged to 6 individuals as term limits of original City Bar Committee chair expires. 2 new individuals became current chairs. It's in that drawer right there.
No, the sneakers.
Right here. Everything is up there.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You know
Now, the first task of the steering committee was to divide up the 6th report, which essentially includes the UTC with modifications in the functional areas. Such divisions was necessary because the UTC is an enormous product, approved by the National Conference of Commissioners on Uniform State Laws, aka Uniform Law Commission, in 2000 with 7 later amendments. The UTC, which has been acted in more than half the states, is an attempt to codify virtually all the laws pertaining to trust. Oh, really? It consists of 11 articles, including articles on trust creation, creditors, rights, revocable trust, general trustee matters, trustee duties and powers, and trustee liability issues. Really? The steering committee created 5 functional subcommittees: general trustee issues, judicial and procedure matters, trustee duties and powers, and estate planning and litigation. Excuse me. You know that we are very serious about our craft. We love the people and want them to be free, so we teach liberally. Indy University is a educational center that is born and birthed to bring our traditions back into our way of life. That is to say, our cultures. Conference calls for estate planning subcommittee begin in September 2012. The litigation subcommittee began its calls during summer of 2013. Steering committee members actively participate on as many calls as possible. Now, let me go through a few pages with you. I will send you this report to study on your own. The reason why I'm going through this with you is because you need to know this information if you're going to be effective in administrating trusts. Always read the table of contents for everything that you do. New York Trust Code in general, judicial proceedings, creation and validity, amendment, modification, and termination of trust, bank accounts in trust form, rights of beneficiaries and creditors, spendthrift and discretionary trust, revocable trust, office of trustee, Part 8, duties and powers of trust, Part 9, reserved, Part 10, liability of trustees and rights of persons dealing with trustee, Part 11, miscellaneous provisions. Really? Now they speak about a sub-article 7A, which has to do with jurisdiction. I'll bring you there later, but for right now, and I'm going to bring you into the Uniform Trust Code probably within the next few videos. Right now, we're going through what it took to create the Uniform Trust Code that is enacted in all 55 states. You want to administrate your private trust properly, which you have a private trust that you keep solely to yourself. But there is an impossibility to have a trust by yourself. You're supposed to be in trust with all the people that are connected to you.
Program?
That is to say, discussion. And then we say Section 7A 1 and 2, present New York law. After which, I'm going to go to this particular section for you, and I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what goes on. Section 7A 1 and 2. Purchase money resulting trust abolished. A disposition of property to one person for a value consideration paid, in whole or in part, by another is presumed fraudulent as against the creditor of the payer at time of such disposition. Unless presumption is rebutted, a trust results in favor of such creditors to the extent necessary to satisfy their claims, but title to the property vests is the transferee, and no trust results to the payer unless the transferee either takes such property in his own name as an absolute transfer without the consent or knowledge of the payer, or B, in violation of some trust, purchases the property so transferred with money or property belonging to another. Really? Now, this is discussion, Section 7A in this article. Number 1, action. With respect to an action of a trustee, includes a failure to act. Number 2, ascertainable standard means a standard relating to an individual's health, education, support, or maintenance within the meaning of Section 2140B1A or 2514C1 of the Internal Revenue Code. Number 3, beneficiary means a person that has a present or future beneficial interest in a trust. This is why we have been telling you to sign our certificate of live birth so that you can have beneficial interest in our estate, in our trust. We have shown and proved through hundreds of videos, states, properties, wealth, land rights, mineral rights, things that we have to offer to the Wabanaki Confederation, that is those with first blood in them. Origins of the first blood is Abenaki, that are 5 tribes that were on the land. They've been here for 8,000 years, and let us be clear about that. They were the first. Now, each successive colonizing race, the Moors colonized, the Americas, when the Native Americans were here, the Europeans did, the Germans did, all of the colonizers came, and out of respect and love for each of the nationalities in the world, we taught them our sciences. They took our sciences, and not only did they grow and increase in the knowledge of our sciences, but they grew and increased in the perversion of the knowledge of our sciences, and then the deception, how to turn it back around and try to erase our shamans off the face of the earth. Oh, think again. Oh, come on, baby. Immortality never dies. Now, let me come to number 2 for you. This is New York Trust Law for the 21st Century. The proposed New York Trust Law, Trust Code, and New York Uniform Direct Trust Act. Estate Planning Council of Eastern New York. Really? What does this say? Let me show you. Bam. Introduction. On November 4th, 2017, the House of Delegates of the New York State Bar Association, NYSBA, approved the recommendation by NYSBA Executive Committee and the Executive Committee on NYSBA Trust and Estate Law, section that New York enact a modern New York Trust Code. Modern New York Trust Code. Earlier in 2017, the president of the New York Bar Association approved enactment of the New York Trust Code as affirmative legislation based on recommendation of the Trust and Estates and Surrogates Court Committee and the Estate and Tax Gift Committee of the City Bar Association. In September 2018, the Executive Committee of the NYSBA Trust and Estate Law section approved enactment of the New York Uniform Trust Code Act, which is New York's version of the recently approved Uniform Direct Trust Act. In November 2017, the Trust and Estates and Surrogates Court Committee of the New York City State Bar approved enactment of the New York Uniform Direct Trust Act, which would be submitted to the President for City Bar approval. On January of 2018, NYSBA's House of Delegates will be asked to approve the New York Uniform Direct Trust Act. Really? Now, I just showed you 2 of the documents. Proposed New York Trust Code. You have to listen to some of these definitions. Trying to make this 15 minutes. Please watch the whole entire video. Subscribe, share, and like. And let people know that the state administration is well. Now, you can go on Acris. ACRIS. NYC 836. When you click on that, you're going to search party name. You're going to hit HOBBS. When you type in HOBBS, a list is going to come up. You're going to hit Max Rose 99, and then you will see what you can have a beneficial interest in concerning properties around New York. This is Section 7A, short title, Scope, a purchase money resulting trust abolished. Definition, knowledge, default and mandatory rules, common law and principles of equity, governing law, principal place of administration, methods of waiver of notice, others treated as qualified beneficiaries, non-judicial settle agreements. Now that's how we roll.
This is dead.
Non-judicial settle agreements is how we rolled. This is what you need to be able to do. In the pro se of the federal courts, we are settling with a non-judicial settlement agreement. I'm telling you the truth. Now, you want more of this action, baby. I'm talking about this real trust code. This is, Uniform Direct Trust Act. National Conference of Commissioner on Uniform State Laws. And by it approved and recommended for enactment in all 50 states. This is copyrighted in 2017, but it was printed and submitted to people February 8th of 2019. We're only 2 months behind schedule. Catch up! 2 months behind schedule. 3, maybe 4. Now, I go through this paperwork for you so that you can have something tangible, up to date, to be able to administrate your trust with. Table of contents, always read. Short title, definitions, section 4. Section 3, application, principal, place of administration. Section 4, common law and principles of equity. Section 5, exclusions. Section 6, powers of trust director. Section 7, limits on trust director. Now, with 14 minutes and 20 seconds, I want to say in the last 30 seconds, we need real administrators, people who are going to put their time into Indy University. We cannot rebuild, resurrect, sell property, do accounting, administrate the trust of others all by ourselves. If you have time, if you have a computer, if you can facilitate the process of meetings every week, please see us. Our number is public. That is 202-826-7011. Indy University out. Love ya. Woo, come on, baby. Yeah.